We had about 13 people sign up, so I'm not sure how long I should wait to let people join in or if I should just get started, and maybe I'll wait like one more minute. If you guys want, you guys can put in the chat like your name and where you're calling from, what your major is, or if you have a job already, what your role and position is. I'm sure you guys know if you're signed up. I'm a civil engineering major, project engineer, just graduated in May. Okay, y'all a little shy, it's okay. Yes, Sumi. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, Dallas, Texas. By any chance, are you a Cowboys fan?
I guess so. By like just because I'm from here, but I don't really watch football.
Football.
So, yeah.
My dad's a huge Dallas Cowboy fan.
I know a lot of people. I go to the University of Oklahoma, and like a lot, apparently, like a lot of people from like Oklahoma are.
Oh yes, we got
Dallas
another
Cowboys.
Texan in the house. I don't know if it's pronounced Deanna or Diana, so I apologize if I say your name wrong.
It's okay. It's Diana.
Diana, okay. Oh, Brittany too in Houston. Okay, so I just attract all these Texans. All right, well, I don't want to make you guys wait any longer. Y'all were the early birds, so you're going to get the good content in the beginning. So if you guys don't know me, which you most likely do if you signed up, but I'm going to give the introduction anyway. My name is Jen, and I'm a project engineer, a podcast host, and a STEM student self-care coach. And the whole point of my platform and why I started it was to add more soul to STEM. And my I help statement is that I help STEM students establish healthy boundaries with their education to improve their relationship with their self-worth and take inspired action on their soul's desires by learning how to make their study choices from a space of self-care. That's like one summary of who I am and what I'm for. And today our workshop is about the 6 personality tests that are my fave. And so the first thing that we're going to do is establish the best mindset that we're going to go over when you're taking the test and when you're reflecting on their results. After you understand the best mindset to have, then I'm going to summarize each of the 6 tests and the self-awareness that they bring you about your tendencies, about your behaviors, about your functioning, and how I've applied that in a student form. And then the last thing we're going to cover, which I feel is the most important, is creating a strategy with the self-awareness that you gain from these tests. So we're going to discuss how you can take the results beyond this workshop and into some activities or some other opportunities that I have at the end of this workshop. So stay tuned for that. Be here the whole time. It's super value packed and results driven. So, okay. So the first thing, like I said, is the best mindset to have when approaching the tests. So what I'm going to cover right now is the ego mentality versus the higher self mentality. And if you don't know what that means, I'll explain it. But basically, and I'm talking from personal experience here, when I've taken these tests, they can be very empowering because they're explaining your strengths and where you have really great like attributes and qualities. But at the same time, they also cover your areas of improvement, your weaknesses, and that can be really triggering. So I've realized that personality tests, while being empowering, can also be triggering, and I don't want any of these to trigger you when it comes up, when the areas of improvement come up. So I want to explain the mentality of the higher self and approaching these with a growth mindset. That'll be a lot more positively impactful when you take them. So what is the ego versus the higher self? Just like a quick summary, the ego is the most primitive part of your brain that is craving survival and safety. It functions from fear and it wants to choose familiarity, what's familiar and what it knows, rather than going outside of the comfort zone and growing. The higher self is the part of you that can dream and recognizes the most abundant and unlimited abilities within yourself. Instead of the channel of fear and familiarity, it's all about love and ascension and growth. And rather than screaming at you to stay safe, it's a lot more gentle, it's a lot more intuitive, and it's just radiating like pure guidance. And so I don't want you to take these tests from the ego brain. I want you to take it from the higher self version of you that's about ascension and growth and seeing those areas of improvement not as weaknesses, but places where you can fill in a gap and feel more whole and aligned. So here are some ways that I like to call in the higher self before taking these tests, and I'll explain why you see a picture of Janae Aiko here. If you guys don't know who she is, she's a singer. So I like, and I've done this with a few of my friends, coming up with an empowering name for your higher self. And a lot of these personality tests require you make like an account and sign up with like an email so that they can send you the results of the test. I don't know about you guys, but I absolutely hate getting spam emails sent to my personal email. So I actually made an email only for taking random ass personality tests. And that's like my junk email. And so I actually really liked, once I came up with a nickname for my higher self, using that nickname to create an email account. And it just really helps you step into that intention, into that mentality when taking the personality test. So some free email like platforms, which I'm sure you guys are aware of, are Gmail and Yahoo. And so my example, my personal example is Janae@gmail.com. I personally love Janae Aiko, the femininity that she embodies, and her music is just so beautiful. Like when I picture my higher self, that's the level of like calmness yet power that I want to embody. And so that's what I use. Please don't email that email. And one of the things that I do is I also like to envision that higher self in like a quick meditation before taking the test, and then embodying that energy when reading the results. So really quickly, I might be taking you guys out of your comfort zone a little bit to just do like a brief meditation for your higher self. So I want you guys all to close your eyes. You're all safe here. You're not the weird one. I'm the weird one making you do this, okay? So just close your eyes for a second. Everybody, sit back. I'm gonna keep saying close your eyes until I see everybody with their eyes closed. It's all good. Okay, so yeah, close your eyes for a second. I just want you guys to picture a color that you love, a color that just covers the energy and the emotion that brings out passion, the color of your higher self, whatever that color is. Picture that color and imagine it as a beam of like radiant light washing over you from head to toe. And as it's washing over your body, you're just bringing out more and more of your higher self and that higher vibration and that higher being. Visualize her. What does she look like? How does she dress? What does she smell like? What does she sound like? What places does she go to? What things does she read? Like really feel into that color, into that energy, into that person, into you. Just take a couple deep breaths, basking in that radiance. All right, you guys can open your eyes. And what is the name that you have for that higher self? I want you guys to put it in the chat. And it could even just be your own name or whatever you feel most empowered by. So you guys already know mine, it's Janae. Oh, I'm sorry, I just saw like all the chats. Can everybody see the slideshow? No? Fixed it? Okay, we're good? Okay, Cool. Sorry about that. Okay, so Brittany's is level 100 Brittany. I love that. Christina's Chris. Boss Queen. Ooh, yes. Ooh, Princess Diana. Oh my God, you guys, I love these. How do you say that, Sumi? Can you say that? I don't want to say it wrong.
Sunima.
Sumnima?
Yeah.
That's so pretty. I didn't know that was your full name.
Thank you.
Yes. Oh my God. So what I would tell you guys to do is whatever your higher self is that you came up with on this call, like make an email for her and then take these tests with that name, with that intention, with that energy in mind. So moving forward, oh, I already told you guys this in the comments, put the nickname, the vibe. Oh yeah, or the color. What color did you guys see? Can you imagine what color my color is? Gold, yellow, orange, pink. Ooh, a dusty rose. I love all these colors. They're very feminine, very empowering. Teal. All right. So now we're finally getting into the fun part, which is the tests. The first test that we're going to go over is the Strengthsfinders Test. And the main purpose of this test is going over your main attributes of your character. So hold on, I'm trying to figure out the best way to like manage my screen. So there are 24 character strengths, and this test is through the VIA survey, and it's a free self-assessment. It takes about 15 minutes, and it provides you with a wealth of information to help you understand your best qualities. So like I said, there are 24 identified strengths that each person has the capacity to express, but you are given at the end your top 5 that are the most positive parts of your personality. And those 5 out of the 24 impact how you think, how you feel, and how you behave. So by taking this test, you're going to discover the unique qualities that you need in your life to feel the most authentic and the most engaged. So this is about authenticity and engagement and the character traits that you need to be the most authentic and the most engaged. So this is snapshots from their website. The 24 character traits are categorized into 6 virtues. So the first 3 virtues are justice, temperance, and transcendence. So just like from this slide, what are a few that stick out to you on here that you think might be one of your main qualities? For mine, it's spirituality. Like out of all the ones that I see here, yeah, spirituality like pops out for me. Prudence, okay, yeah. So the next set of virtues is wisdom, courage, and humanity. So out of these, which ones come out, like which pops out into your perspective? I would probably say honesty, judgment, kindness. Yeah, love of learning, heck yeah. Oh, we have so many kindness here. So that's just a quick overview of the 24 and the 6 virtues. And so the way that I've applied the results of the 5 that come out of your test is on their website, it explains that workers who use 4 or more of their strengths at work have the most positive work experience, and they feel that their work is their calling. So the way that I would apply these results is if 1, you're unhappy in your school experience, this can help you diagnose why you're unhappy and identify the character strengths that are missing in your work environment. 2, if you're not performing at your best, you also have the verbiage and the vocabulary to communicate to your professors why your motivation is low, or what it is that you need from your environment or from them as a professor to boost your productivity. This is actually coming from personal experience. during my senior year of undergrad, in my senior project, I was the most miserable I had ever been throughout my whole undergrad experience. My boyfriend can tell you I was a complete stressed out mess because of this project. And when I took this test, my top number one virtue was fairness, or not virtue, character. And my professor was not treating this project very fairly. And once I took this test and recognized that fairness was one of the top things that I care about, I was able to explain to him, hey, I'm noticing that there's some unfairness occurring and it's impacting my ability to lead this project, my ability to perform and be productive in this project. And it actually did this exact thing. It helped me identify why this project made me so miserable. And it also helped me communicate to my professor, yeah, exactly. Communicate to him like what I needed from him to make it a better experience for me, or even to the other students where I felt like, anyway, so that's how I use this as a student. And this is one of the most simple tests that I'm going to explain today. So, okay, moving on. This is the website that you can go to. It's called viacharacter.org. And if I go quickly and like you don't have time to write it down, don't worry. I'm going to share the slides with you guys at the end. I have all your emails from when you signed up, so I'll send this to you. So no worries if you can't write it all down. Okay, so test number 2 out of 6, the Enneagram test. This is all about how you react to stress and support. So what is the Enneagram test? This test shows you how you manage your motivations, your fears, your internal dynamics based on how you uniquely view the world. There are 9 types, and each type has their own driving force that is centered around a specific emotion. So the Enneagram test is all about emotion. This test helps you see why you behave the way that you do and what guides you to take specific actions and decisions. So understanding your type and its emotional experience and how it colors your perception can help you broaden your perspective and approach situations more effectively. I've already taken it before this summer. Should I do it again? You don't have to. If you want to tell us your type, you can put it in there. If anyone else has taken this, that's totally fine too. But you can totally see like if maybe embodying your higher self gives you a different result, or if you got the same result, you can try to do a little experiment. So there are 9 Enneagram types, and the diagram for the Enneagram type is this like circle, which represents oneness, but then it's divided into 3, not quadrants because that's 4, but like 3 sections, and which are further divided into like 9 specific personalities. And so the type 1 is the perfectionist type, which their behavior motivation is about being orderly and planned. Type 2 is the caregiver, which is my type. I'm type 2. We feel that we are motivated to be helpful and to be caring. Type 3 is the medalist, which is their desire, their motivation is to be impressive and attractive. Type 4 is the artist, which is all about individualism and being unique and different. Type 5 is the detective, which wants to be intellectual and knowledgeable. That's what motivates them. Number 6 is all about being the strategist for security and safety. 7 is the explorer, which is adventurous and fun. Number 8 is the fighter, which is their motivation is to be assertive and the leader and to be strong. And number 9 is the diplomat, where their motivation is to maintain peace and calm. So if you haven't taken this test, I'd love for you to, just based on that summary, maybe make a guess on which type you are. So I see 2 type 1s, the perfectionist. Honestly, like if I could make a guess, I feel like most STEM students would be either type 1 or maybe 5. I don't know. That's just like my guess. Any guesses for people who haven't taken this test, which one you think you might be from? Sometimes you think you're one type, but it's easy to mistype. Yeah, for sure. But just trying to see some guesses. See how far off you are. Okay, so just to kind of dive deeper into the 9 types, like I said, they are categorized into like 3 main categories. So you have these 3, which is 1, 9, and 8, these 3, which is 7, 6, and 5, and then these 3, which is 2, 3, and 4. So the heart types of the Enneagram react with emotions first, and they connect with other people on an empathetic level, which makes sense to them by the world and how they understand it. So that's me. I'm a type 2, which is the giver. And underneath this umbrella of the heart types is also the achiever and the individualist. So type 3 and type 4. So I'll just kind of read this real quickly. Type 2 wants to be liked and find ways that they can be helpful. Type 3 wants to be successful and admired. And type 4s want to be unique and experience deep, authentic emotions. Then the next group is the head types of the Enneagram, and they are analysis first. So they connect with people on an intellectual level, and they make sense of the world by understanding the systems and theories. So type 5, the investigator, seeks understanding and knowledge. Type 6 is the skeptic. So they're preoccupied with security and seeking safety and wanting to be prepared for problems. And then type 7 is the enthusiast, who wants to have as much fun and adventure as possible with very little boredom allowed. And then the last 3 grouping is the body type. So the body types react with a gut feeling. They connect with other people based on their physical sense of comfort, and they make sense of the world by sensing their body's reaction to what is happening. So type 8 is the challenger, like they're the type that wants to be strong and powerful. Type 9 is the peacemaker. They want to go with the flow and let people around them set the agenda. And then type 1, the perfectionist, which a few of you said that you are. They place a lot of emphasis on following the rules and doing things correctly. Oh, sorry. Okay, so how did I use these results as a student? One of the really top things about the Enneagram is it's designed to show you how your type reacts under stress and how your type reacts when it's feeling supported. So if you look at the diagram, you can see a type having 2 arrows, an arrow that is like a black colored arrow, and then an arrow that's a red colored arrow. So every single type has that from their number. And the red arrow, I believe, is how they react to stress and how they become when they're relaxed. So the picture on the right kind of explains that. So if we look at me, I'm a type 2. When I'm feeling supported, I am self-nurturing and emotionally aware, which is more of a type 4 personality. And then when I'm under stress, I get really like domineering, really aggressive, like really stressed out, and I embody like the negative attributes of an 8. So one of the cool things about the Enneagram is the way the diagram is designed. It clearly indicates to you how you react when you're in a stress state and how you react when you're in a supported state. So if you recognize yourself, in my case, if I recognize myself getting aggressive and domineering and controlling, which totally happened during my senior project that I was telling you about, then I can kind of step back into this and be like, okay, how can I embody more of a number 4? Like, I'm really stressed out. I'm a total like hard-headed 8 right now. Yeah, so I'm totally a hard-headed 8 right now. Like, now I have the tools to go into like the Enneagram website and be like, okay, what are the positive attributes of a 4, and how can I give myself the positive attributes of a 4 to kind of balance myself back into either equilibrium or more to the growth side of my spectrum. So this is how I used the Enneagram test as a student. So the website that you can go to, this is the one that I used, which is not as accurate because it's free. The real Enneagram test is like $12 or something like that, but I didn't really feel like paying for it. I didn't think it was necessary, but if you want like true like answers that you feel confident in, I would suggest paying for the test. But this was the test that my coach had me do, and it was the free version. So this is the website. This is what it looks like. I took a screenshot of it. And yeah. So test number 3. Or before I kind of move on, does anyone have any questions about StrengthsFinder or Enneagram? We good? Am I going too fast? Okay, cool. Thanks. Okay, so 16 personality test is test number 3. So the 16 personality test is a lot about like the results that it gives you, in my opinion, it's the most in-depth. Like it gives you a whole freaking PDF of your personal growth, how you are in relationships, and your professional success. So obviously as a student, I use this to really understand professional success. So what is this test? This is also known as the Myers and Briggs test. So if you've heard it by that name, this is the same thing. So they propose that there are 4 key dimensions that could be used to categorize people. So those 4 key dimensions are introversion versus extroversion, sensing versus intuition, thinking versus feeling, and judging versus perceiving. So each of the 4 dimensions are a dichotomy. They're either ors of each other. And they describe the either or as a preference and propose that any individual should be able to identify a preferred style under a certain circumstance. So the sum of a person's 4 preferred styles becomes their personality type. So I'll explain that further. So the first one was introversion versus extroversion. So the first category of your personality is how you manage your energy. So an extrovert manages their energy by directing their energy outward, and they feel recharged after interacting with other people. Like they get their energy from being around others. And then introversion, a person's energy is directed inward, and they get energy and receive energy from being with themselves, from reflecting within. So a common misconception is that introverts are like shy or like soft-spoken. That actually is not true by this definition. By this definition, you can have someone like me that loves to present, but I am defined as an introvert because I require time alone to recharge. So the first category is energy management, and these are the 2 options that you might prefer one over the other. The next category is processing information. So you can prefer to process information in one of 2 ways. One, by sensing. So that means that you process and take in information through your senses, through focusing on what's happening right here and right now. Versus me, my personality type is intuitive. So I process information by focusing on how it applies to the bigger picture and to the future of possibilities. The next category is the decision making. So your decision making can be preferred in one of 2 ways. The first one is by thinking. So primarily logic and analysis based by looking at the cause and effect, or it's by feeling, which is mine. And so someone who is a feeling personality type primarily chooses and makes their decisions based on their values and based on a subjective evaluation of what they feel is the most valuable to weigh when making a decision. So not like just the facts and the logic, but like, how does it feel to me and who I am and what I value? And then the last category is how you approach the world. So the two ways that you can prefer to approach the world is one by judging, which is part of my personality type. And that doesn't mean that you're like judgmental. What it means is that you prefer to judge via like plans and organization, and you want to approach life from a place that feels settled and organized and well thought out, versus a perceiving person prefers to feel more flexible and spontaneous and approach life from feeling like their options are wide open. So if we look to the right, these there's obviously 16 personality options if you choose one preference over the other in the 4 categories. And those can be further grouped into these 4 options. So you can fall under the analysts, under the diplomats, under, how do you say this? Centennials, and the explorers. So my personality type is INFJ. So I'm considered the advocate type. So like I said in the beginning, oh, cool. Yeah. So like I said in the beginning, your results are a 4-letter code, and the summary you receive from this specific website gives you such a detailed report and toolkit of your personality type. And one section of the report is how you thrive in a career sense, in a professional success. So it gives you like the careers that are best for your personality type, and it gives you like the strategy that works best for you to achieve your goals. And one of the things that like my personality yeah, sure, no worries. One of the things that my personality type that it said in terms of career is like becoming some form of counselor or mentor or coach, and that's exactly what I fell into when it comes to my platform. So the place that you can go to take this test is 16personalities.com. And just to let you guys know, like all of the tests that I'm showing you are free. And so, yeah, you shouldn't have to pay for any of these. But if you want like a further analysis, they do have like a paid option where you can get super in-depth, detailed results, but I really don't feel like any of that's necessary. Okay, so test number 4 is the 5 love languages. So has anyone taken this before? The 5 love languages? Yeah, I know this became super popular a couple years back. So this one is super self-explanatory. This is about showing yourself and those around you love. So what is this test? This is directly from their website. The most common issue in any relationship is the communication barrier. Everyone experiences love differently, and it's easy to miss the mark when it comes to showing that you care. So with a little help from the 5 love languages, you can learn to identify the root of your conflicts, give and receive love in a more meaningful way, and grow closer than ever. Your love language profile explains your primary love language, what it means to you, and how you can use it to connect to others and to connect to yourself. So what are the 5 love languages? The 5 love languages are 1, words of affirmation. So that is verbally acknowledging and showing affection for another person by like appreciating them and being grateful for them and saying the words "I love you" out loud. The next set is physical touch. So that's about like physical intimacy, hugging, kissing, touching. The next one is quality time. So one-on-one time, being fully present to yourself, being fully present to your loved one. I kind of connect this to like active listening. I think like the more present, the more actively you're listening to yourself and to others is one of the ways to really make them feel loved when quality time is their love language. The next one is gifts. So being gifted something that's thoughtful and meaningful. And then lastly, acts of service. So going out of your way to make life easier for yourself or for another person. So just from like this brief description, for those who have like taken the test, what are some ways that you guys experience and hear love? Like for me, it's words of affirmation and acts of service. Those are my top two. Yeah, acts of service. Quality time. Words of affirmation, quality time. Yeah, words of affirmation. So we can even just kind of like brainstorm how we would apply this in a student form. So let's say I'm seeing words of affirmation come up a lot. Let's say for yourself, words of affirmation is one of your top love languages, right? I've done this with all of my clients. At the end of my program, I have every single one of them write a letter to themselves to open at the end of the semester. So I think that's one of the best ways to show yourself love as a student if words of affirmation is one of your love languages. So at the end of the semester, telling yourself everything that you want to hear, everything you wish your parents would say to you, everything you wish your professors would say to you, like just saying it to yourself and affirming yourself with words at the end of whatever kind of semester you had. So yeah, moving on. How did I use my results as a student? So I think the love languages is best applied during midterm and finals season, kind of like what I was just explaining. So your results will show you the percentage of which you speak and feel that love language. And what I would do is use your top two to show yourself unconditional love during your peak stress seasons and where self-care is needed most. So like around midterm final season, if gifts is your love language, like get yourself a gift to open at the end of finals and midterm season. Or like I said, if words of affirmation, give yourself a letter to open and read after the semester. Let's see, like what's another one? I don't know, someone give me another one. Acts of service, like at the end of final season, like doing all your laundry, cleaning your space, like really doing an act of service for yourself. And another way that I could see this applied from my perspective, a lot of times I would neglect my relationship during finals and midterm season, which was really hard on my boyfriend. So I had him take the test and understand what his love language is so that when I have times where I know I'm not going to be as available, I can show up for him after finals and midterm season with that love language. Yeah. So you can also use this test to understand the significant people in your life and how you can be a better part of the relationship after a moment of crazy busy midterms and final seasons. So this is what the website looks like. It's called The 5 Love Languages. And yeah, so if you guys want to take that test, this is where you go. Now, test number 5, it's all about astrology. I know astrology has like blown up recently. So if you guys know your astrological signs, your sun sign, your moon sign, your ascendant, like drop them in the chat. I am a Capricorn. My birthday is actually in a few days. So, oh, we have a Cancer. My sister's a Cancer. Libra. Oh my gosh, Sumi, you're a Capricorn too. I didn't know that. Oh yes, Brittany knows all hers. Gemini sun, Taurus rising, Pisces moon, and we're gonna get into that right now. Ooh, a Leo, we got that fire energy. Okay, anyways. So your astrological natal chart, if you guys don't know, is where all the planets were placed at the moment you were born. So what is this test? An astrological natal chart is a map of where all the planets were in their journey around the sun at the exact moment that you were born. So the placement of each planet on your chart influences specific parts of your personality and your life's trajectory. An astrological chart reading can reveal opportunities for your soul and universal connection and the best timing for your most important moves. So to calculate your birth chart, your natal chart, you need to know the time that you were born, like down to the minute. You need to know, obviously, the date and year and all that you were born. But you also need to know the city that you were born in. So this isn't like a test where you type in your preferences or you choose from different like selections. Like all the previous tests were more like survey questionnaires. This really isn't a test at all. This is just inputting your birth information, and then it outputs a chart that you read and analyze and understand the energies of the different planets at the moment that you were born. So I guess this isn't technically a test, but it for sure provides information on your personality. So that's why I included it. So I'm sure we're all aware, I'm just going to give like a brief background overview of the astrological signs and their symbols. So there's Capricorn, which is like December, January. There's Sagittarius, Scorpio, Libra, Virgo, Leo, Cancer, Gemini, Taurus, Aries, Pisces, Aquarius. I actually don't know like the order of the astrology like symbols and all that, but so there are 12 zodiac signs. So a lot of people just think that they're their sun sign, which is all the signs that you guys were calling out. You're a Libra, you're a Capricorn, you're a Leo. When you say that, you're calling out your sun sign. But the main attributes of your personality are actually summarized by what's called the Primal Triad, and that's what Brittany put in the chat. So when Brittany said she's a Gemini sun, a Taurus rising, that's also known as ascendant, and a Pisces moon, she gave her primal triad. So yeah, you're not just your sun sign, you're also your moon sign and your ascendant, which is also known as your rising. And just to kind of give like a brief overview of what those each mean, it's I am your sun sign with the soul of your moon sign with the mask of your ascendant sign. So your sun is like your main core self. Your moon is your emotional self. So your moon is who comes out when you are feeling the most like authentic and the most vulnerable and the most open and the most emotional. You don't have any walls up, like your truest form. That's your moon sign. And then your ascendant is the mask that you wear when you first meet people or when people don't really know you yet. So in my case, I am a Capricorn sun, which is very professional and successful and career oriented, with the soul of a Sagittarius moon. And Sagittarius is very like adventurous and spontaneous and yeah, so that's my moon sign with the mask of a Libra. My ascendant sign is Libra. And I actually don't know too much about Libras, so I don't know like what mask I put up, but from what I've heard, it's like a mask of creativity and art like artistic attributes. So that's how I would summarize my primal triad. So when you input your birth information, you're going to get something like this. And this is what your natal chart looks like. So I actually inputted the information for today's date from Los Angeles, which is where I'm at 6 p.m., which is the time that I had for our workshop. So if there was a baby born at the exact minute that I started this workshop in Los Angeles, I have a perfect triangle. I didn't know that. So if this isn't my birth chart, this is the birth chart if somebody was born today at 6 p.m. in Los Angeles. tells you your sun sign, it tells you your moon sign, and it also tells you the sign that all these other planets are in for your natal chart. It tells you what sign Mercury's in, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and then ASC is your ascendant. So just to kind of explain the results of your chart is a summary of so many different life areas, and I like to look at your natal chart for your career destiny. So your results will show you, just like I just showed in that chart, where your planets and astrological signs are and which houses they're in. And I know I'm giving so many like astrological vocab, but I'm just kind of giving like a brief summary. So each house represents a different life area, and the 10th house on your birth chart is the house of career. So if you look at your birth chart and you look at where the number 10 is, the 10th house, and you look at what planets are in there, you look at what sign is covered in your 10th house, you can dive deeper into your career trajectory and your career destiny in terms of your natal chart. So the planets that have to do and impact your career are Jupiter, Saturn, and Venus. So on top of looking at what's inside your 10th house, you can also look at where Jupiter is, what house it's in, what sign it's in, Saturn and Venus as well. So if we go back to the chart from earlier, Jupiter is that Aquarius symbol? I don't have all my symbols memorized. So you would look at like Jupiter, you would look at Venus, and what was the other one? Saturn. So you would look at what signs those are in, and then these Roman numerals that you guys see, those are the houses. So the 10th house is the one that dominates career. Where is the number 10? Yeah. So I think it's like somewhere here. So yeah, you guys can also hire people to like read your chart for you, but the website that I'm giving you guys to take this test, just like the 16 personality test, is very in-depth. So if you guys go to astro.cafeastrology.com, this one's really cool. You actually don't have to make an account, so you don't need like your email or anything to get results. You're me with figuring out what Roman number is. Yeah, I'm not good with Roman numbers, guys. Sorry. Roman numerals. And yeah, so if you guys go to cafeastrology.com, it gives you like such a deep analysis of every single planet, every single house, and all of that. So this is how I've used it as a student in terms of career. Okay. So we are coming up to the last test. I put this one last because it was honestly one of the most eye-opening tests for me in terms of taking action towards a better student lifestyle. So this one is called the Four Tendencies, and this explains how we react and respond to what's expected of us. So as students, we have a lot of expectations, either coming from our parents, either coming from our family, from ourselves that we've learned to expect from ourselves, and most likely from our professors, expectations from other students. So I think this is one of the most important tests at this season of our life, because there's just so much to expect from how we're going to go into our future and the success that occurs now for what happens in our life later. And so yeah, going deeper into it, what is the Four Tendencies? So one of the daily challenges of life is, how do I get people, including myself, to do what I want? By asking the simple question, how do I respond to expectations? We gain insight into ourselves. And when we know how other people respond to expectations, we understand them far more effectively as well. We all face two types of expectations. So we have outer expectations like work deadlines and relationship expectations. And then we have inner expectations. So the expectations that we have from ourselves, like this is very fitting, a New Year's resolution that we decide, and saying that we're going to start to meditate more. Those are internal and inner expectations. So our response to expectations determines what our tendency is to choose. So I'll explain further. So like the name says, there are 4 tendencies. So there are 4 types that you tend to respond with in terms of expectations. So there is 1, the upholder. So the upholder tends to meet outer expectations easily, and they meet their inner expectations easily. So if people have expectations of them, and if they have expectations of themselves, they can follow through on that, no problem. That's an upholder. Then you have a questioner. A questioner resists outer expectations because they question other people's like perspective, but meeting themselves and their own expectation, like they got that on lock because they understand how they're thinking and where they're coming from, so they can easily choose what they're determining for themselves. That's a questioner. Then you have an obliger. An obliger tends to meet outer expectations very easily, but resists and has a hard time meeting their inner expectations. So this is my type. And I remember getting so frustrated that whenever I had expectations coming from school, from professors, from like sports teams, I could easily follow through. In fact, I felt like I had to. But when I would say that I'm going to like take care of myself more, or when I would say that I'm going to read this book or that I'm going to start this new habit, I could never follow through. And I would judge myself so harshly for being that kind of person. Like, why am I so externally motivated? Why can't I motivate myself internally? Like, it was so frustrating. And when I had taken this test, it had said that one of the best ways to meet your inner expectations is by putting it in an outside place, because I can easily meet outside expectations, right? And so this is when I learned that working with a coach was so beneficial to me. And this is what got me to kind of jump over the fear fence of working with a coach. And I hired a coach. And then from the program that I did with her, I started my program and I started my platform. And as you guys can see, I followed through on that goal because I put it from an outside place, and that's what I respond to. Anyway, the last type is the rebel type. So the rebel resists not only outer expectations, but they also resist inner expectations. So I'll explain that further. So the summarizing statement for an upholder is, I do what others expect of me and what I expect from myself. A questioner, I do what I think is best according to my judgment. If it doesn't make sense, I won't do it. The obliger, which is me, like I said, I do what I have to do, but I don't want to let others down. So in the process, I may let myself down. And then there's the rebel, which is, I do what I want in my own way. And if you try to make me do something, even if I try to make myself do something, I'm less likely to do it. So if you guys haven't taken these tests yet, just from hearing this summary, like what personality type do you think you are? Do you think you're an upholder, a questioner, an obliger, or a rebel? Questioner, obliger, questioner. That's funny. Anyone else? Questioner / obliger, okay. Obliger, yeah. Okay, we got a lot of obligers and questioners. That's funny. Okay, so the place that you guys can go to take this test is, it's by Gretchen Rubin. But honestly, if you guys like Google Four Tendencies quiz, like the first thing that pops up. Like, so here's like a snapshot of what it looks like. And this one does require your email, so be sure to have an email on hand that you don't mind getting spam sent to. And so, yeah, all that covers the 6 tests that I've used to know my soulful student needs and to hopefully help you guys know yours. So we covered the Strengthsfinder, we covered Enneagram, we covered 16 personalities, 5 love languages, your natal chart, and then the 4 tendencies. So just out of curiosity, I know I went super fast and my summaries are pretty brief, but from those 6, like, which are you most excited about to be like, I really want to know what type I am in this one? Enneagram, okay. Natal chart, yes. I love my natal chart. Ooh, okay. 16 personalities, natal chart, 4 tendencies. Yeah. So I totally have a fun activity for you guys at the end. Let's get to it. So the last thing, if you guys remember when I explained the 3 things that we're going to cover, it was the mentality to have when taking your test. It was the summary of each test and how to apply it as a student. And then it was 3, how to take this self-awareness beyond the workshop. So these personality tests are really, really great tools to help you become aware of yourself, aware of how you function, aware of how you behave, aware of the mentality that you have. But it doesn't really give you much strategy. And something that I want to explain is, in preparation for the program that I created, I took this course at Yale, which is called the Science of Well-Being. And in that class, she explains this G.I. Joe fallacy. So back in the 80s, I guess there was a commercial. Well, I didn't go to Yale. It was like a free class, guys. It's all good. It's all good. She explains the G.I. Joe fallacy, which is that in the 80s, G.I. Joe had this commercial at the end of like cartoons. Yeah, it's a free course. It's not like, okay, anyways. At the end of the cartoon, he goes, self-awareness is half the battle. And she goes on to explain that self-awareness isn't even close to half the battle. It's just barely like the surface. Because have you guys ever, like, I'm going to speak for myself. I literally spent years aware of all my unhealthy habits as a student. Like, I spent years knowing that I was living unhealthily, that I was letting school dominate me, that I was super like lacking of self-care. Like, I was so aware, but nothing was changing because I was stuck in the cycle of what I knew how to do, and I didn't have the how to get out of that self-awareness. And the way that she explains it in the lesson is she shows you optical illusions. So the way that she shows this is there's optical illusions, and then she explains the optical illusion. So just by knowing what's happening, you should be able to think above the optical illusion, right? But after she explains what's happening, your brain is still getting tricked by the optical illusion. So she shows that, like, even though you know what's happening and what the optical illusion is doing, the trick is still happening to your brain. So that is proof that awareness doesn't change anything. And from my experience, having self-awareness kind of made things worse, because that's where the phrase like ignorance is bliss comes from, right? Like, now I was super aware of all my bad habits and I could see all my shit and I had nothing to do about it. Like, I almost rather not even know it. And so, like I said, I spent years stuck in the self-awareness phase, and I knew all my unhealthy habits with school, but not having the tools to progress out of that only cycle that I'd known really sucked. And I don't want anybody to get stuck in the self-awareness phase like I did. So like I said earlier with the 4 tendencies quiz, it wasn't until I had done something that I'd never done before to get the results that I had never had before, which was designing a life of balance by investing in my first coaching program. And so for everybody that attended today, I want to invite all of you into my program, which is called the Engineer Your Soulful Semester Schedule program, We are going to be starting on Saturday, January 23rd. And I have an exclusive offer just for the girls, just for you guys who attended today. I want to give every single one of you the application link. It is actually not going to open until January 11th to other people, but I'm going to open it to you guys today. And you guys have until the 10th to enroll. And when you guys do enroll early, you guys will get a bonus SOS call, which is a stressed out student call. And that's a one-on-one with me that you get to use during midterm season or final season when you're super stressed out. I'm not offering that to anybody else. I'm only offering it to you guys if you guys sign up and join and enroll within the next week. So if that sounds like something you guys are interested in, this is the link, and I will be emailing it to you guys once I send you guys the presentation slides and all that. And so, like I said, I just want to really invite you guys into that and really take this self-awareness to the next results-driven action and strategy in this really intimate container, which is my program. And Sumi is my past client, so I love that Sumi's like super excited in the chat. So thanks, Sumi. I actually have Sumi's testimonial up on my website. So if you guys want to know how my previous clients liked my program, you guys can go onto my website and really read and watch their videos on the experience that they had in the program. And if you're not ready for a program like that, or you're not necessarily interested, I still have a way to give you some self-care strategy. Oh, why isn't it going on to the next slide? Come on, go to the next slide. There we go. So the other way that you guys can join into some self-care strategy other than the program is also through Instagram stories. So what I want you guys to do for the next 6 days is I want you to take all the tests that we talked about, and I want you to share on your Instagram stories what test you took, the results you got, and then how you're going to personally use that result as a student going into the next semester. So if you guys participate in that in the next 6 days and you tag me in it, I'll keep tabs of you, what your goals are, and I'll totally keep you accountable. And I don't know why it's like not, whatever, it's okay, guys. But I actually made an Instagram stories template that you guys can fill out in your Instagram stories, and I'll also be emailing that to you guys so you guys can show us your results on Instagram, and I'll cheer you guys on for whatever your personality type is. And I will keep you accountable to the way that you want to use that result into next semester. So that is all. That is our 1 hour presentation. And so I really hope that it was helpful to every single one of you. Like I said, I have your emails. I'm going to email you guys this Instagram story challenge, and I'll also email you guys the link if you're interested in joining my program. And yeah, we can totally use the next few minutes to either answer any questions or kind of chat with each other, get to know each other a little better. It's all up to you guys and how you want to spend the rest of our time. But other than that, that's everything that I have. So yeah. Thank you so much for coming. And Sumi, you said it's like 2 a.m. for you. So thank you. I love the commitment.
I loved it. I'm really excited to do the quizzes now as well.